I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain, and we're your fuck buddies.
We're a sex and dating advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either roaming the wilds of the internet or roaming the wilds of your brains, and then you send them to us and we answer them right here, right now, in your ears.
So, little heads up, friends. We've got a very busy month ahead of us. Like, personally, we're doing things. I'm going to Vegas. Niall has some family over. So we're recording in advance. But I can't stop thinking about what could happen
Between now and
then.
Yeah.
Because, like, if we had skipped last week or if we had recorded last week, we wouldn't be able to talk about this week watching Joey Chestnut
the most sexual thing pretty much ever.
eat like 700 hot dogs in 10 minutes. And I'm just thinking, it's like, what happens? Who does something crazy?
I know. What are you, the listener, going to miss out on because we had to front load these?
Yeah, because
And
we
you
had to
know
record
what?
in advance.
There's only one way to solve that, and that's by going to our Patreon and giving us enough money to tell our family, no, leave me alone.
Yeah, we could get them a hotel.
Yeah, I could be like, yo, go down the road for an hour and let me do this with my
Or
good bud.
Give us so much money that
We could see into the future and then we'd know.
I was going to say, we just sit in a room and give hypotheticals. We act as if, like, we come up with as many possible scenarios of what could
It's like
happen.
every day we do about 24 episodes, and each one is that if this happens,
if this happens, then release the
hounds.
the hounds.
Release the chestnut cut. This week we're going to be talking about she brought her sister on a date. Now I like her.
My mind's telling me no, but her body's telling me yes.
There's something off about this girl I've been texting.
Suspicious lube hiding.
And much more, presumably, depending
Maybe.
on timing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Or do you want to talk about Joey Chestnut a little bit? Or is it just going to be peppered into all the questions?
I don't know if I can talk about Joey Chestnut because
It's weird that I forgot about it entirely, and then you said it, and I was like, oh, yeah.
I haven't stopped thinking about it, man. How sweaty he was afterwards.
Yeah, dude. The sheer amount of sodium. For those that don't know, Joey Chestnut, All-American hero. Obviously, the caveat is that I know nothing about this man. I highly doubt his views are great. He just eats a lot of hot dogs. That's all I'm talking about. Just get out in front of the...
What if Joey Chestnut is just like the wokest man alive? Like,
He
what
could
if
be. He's vegan dogs, man.
Yeah.
Vegan dogs.
I think he's just doing that for the dollars. I don't think he cares ethically or...
So he's the best hot dog eater ever, and he solidified that record on Tuesday, Monday, by eating 83 hot dogs in
10 minutes.
10 minutes. The world record, live on Netflix.
With like no loss either, really. I don't think he had any deductions.
No, like they were squeegeeing like half-eaten hot dogs off the other guy and measuring them when they deducted him one whole dog.
Yeah.
They didn't even do shit because Joey's like, yeah, I ate it.
Yeah.
And they weren't even allowed to do the dipping method for you non-hot dog aficionados. They would dip hot dogs in water to like
Soften the bun up.
Soften the bun, pre-lube, and
The
then shove it in
idea
there.
of eating one soggy hot dog is so upsetting to me that
I feel
idea-
like on a pure texture level,
Yeah.
it would defeat me.
I would throw up immediately if someone was like, here, eat this soaking wet hot dog bun that we fully submerged into water. Like, even if, like, I get grossed out if I'm about to eat a burger and, like, you know when you, like, shake your ketchup or you don't shake the ketchup and, like, a little bit of the ketchup water?
Oh, that's a different thing, though. That's fucking foul.
If that, like, touches my bun,
Yeah.
I have made a new hamburger bun and just thrown that one out because it's gotten a little and like
ketchup water,
you know, or even if like there's a little, like if you freeze your bun and then you bring it out and then it's like a little damp because there was like an ice, you know, it's a little freezer burnt. Like
damp bread is bad.
It's so upsetting to me that someone was like, not only am I going to
Put like an ungodly amount of this,
I'm going to eat multiple. I'm going to eat tens of these. Ooh. Yeah,
God.
it was an experience that I didn't know I didn't want and also couldn't look away.
Yeah, it was just fascinating. Like in the like D&D sense of being fascinated, like just staring, and
we
like,
all
couldn't do anything for a round.
Yeah, we had to stop and stare.
Okay, this is by Additional Pie 8877. She brought her sister to a date. Now I like her sister. This is going to be wild. But I went on a date with someone my age, 27. It was a first date. She brought her sister. It was weird, I thought at first, but she was uneasy as we met online and wanted her to be there. Her sister left us alone for the most part, and we got along. Towards the end, we all got dessert together and we all chatted. Her sister's 33, single. However, I started feeling a connection with her sister as we overtook the conversation. Kind of weird now. I like her sister. My date did say our date went fine and she wants to meet again, but I'm in two minds. My date did say also her sister told me I was really nice, clever, and sweet.
Oof. This is tough because, yeah, I feel you. I feel your pain here because we don't get to choose who we're attracted to or who we have a connection with.
No.
And sometimes
you got a foxy sister, I guess.
Sometimes the sister, I mean, hey, on the plus side, this woman will never bring her hot sister.
Yeah, you've solved the problem for future generations because bringing your sister on your first date, that's a bad move. This is not the way it usually is a bad move. I think it's just a bad move in general.
Yeah, if your sister's a babe.
Also that, but like in general, I think like I wouldn't enjoy that. I'd be like, okay, that's weird. Even a friend, I'd be like, that's strange.
I mean, I've told the story where like people have brought in people on dates. I understand it. And you know what? In this climate, now more than ever, I do think you need to be careful. So I think if you're told up front,
I think you always needed to be careful. I don't know why it's more of a dangerous climate.
People are fucking scary.
But that's always.
I know, but it's everyone's scarier now, I think.
I don't think so. But even then, it's like, I feel like you can't really do it, though.
I wouldn't be upset if someone said, hey, just so you know, my sister, like I'm bringing my sister, she's not going to be there. She's like at the other end of the bar with her friends. I would be like, I wouldn't love it. I would also be like,
I'm not saying I'm going to be like, fuck you, get out of here. But like, it's
go on, get
in terms of like 1 to 10 ideal, it's like a 2. You know what I mean? 1 being bad.
I think it's higher up. I think it's down there if she's there. Like, again, I've been on dates where someone was like, didn't tell me, and then the friend was there the whole time.
Yes, you're right.
Right?
And I think Reich. I've been here the whole time.
I would put it at, like, for me, like a 6.
No, it's not above 5. I'm sorry.
It's not a deal breaker, but
like, again, we all understand safety
5.
concerns, but it's like, you are a grown-ass woman. You need to be able to handle your shit. So it's like, if you feel unsafe, do it in a safer environment. You know what I mean? Like, meet in a public place, at a coffee shop or something. You know what I mean? Like, those are the ways you can mitigate risk without bringing somebody else and it being weird. Again, it's fine. It's just not great.
I guess it depends on, like, if you're in a rural small town and, like, the only bar or whatever. It's
even easier because everybody knows you. So you're like, you go to the bar and you're like, great.
It's so easy. It's like, I went on a date with a guy from out of state. You don't know where he lives.
Yeah,
but be lying.
It doesn't matter because he comes to the bar and then you got 9 eyes on him.
I guess.
Because one of the people has only 1 eye.
And when you walk into the bar, all the music is going to stop.
Exactly.
And everyone's going to look at you.
Everyone's like, here's your fries. Here's your wings. Don't you hurt Betty Joe.
Yeah. We don't take kindly to your type around here.
Exactly. Everyone's armed. It's a small town.
Yeah.
You've probably got a gun. It's a small town. In fact, I think it's safer.
Okay. I think if someone says, for me, here's what's getting me. If this is the actual verbatim response, if she said your date was fine, I'm not looking for fine, right? Like, I don't want fine.
No, but you're looking for fine.
I'm looking for
like
fine.
Her sister.
Yeah, right. I don't want a date that's fine.
That's actually a very good point. Our date, she did say our date went fine. That's not great.
No, right? I'm a 36-year-old man. I don't want to chase fine. Mm-hmm. I want sparks. I want chemistry. Mm-hmm. I want romance, right?
You know, I didn't really pick up on it. I thought it was like our date, like I paraphrased it in my head as like, she said our date went well, and then said my sister said these things, which I thought was like, oh, it went well, and I got her approval. Yeah. It's highly possible she's saying it went fine, but she thinks you're, you know.
Right? This is like, if someone was like, oh yeah, it was good, I'd see you again. But like, I think you can, and you can use this as like, if she gets upset, be like, oh, I'm really sorry I misread the, but like, you did say that it, you know, went fine, which isn't great. Like, you should be, you know what I mean? Like, phrase it being like, I don't want you to settle for fine. Like, if you thought that all we had was a fine connection,
or just get rid of all the things Dane's saying and just say, I don't want you.
Yeah,
I do want your sister.
I want hot sister.
So I think the thing is here,
you bet hot sister good.
This person's trying to hedge their bets. They were like, oh, I kind of want to go for the sister, but I don't know if it'll work, so I'm staying with this person. Yeah. You need to figure out what you want. If you want to risk it for the sister biscuit, that's fine. If you don't, then you need to stop thinking about it. There's no half and half here. There's only full measures, right? So you have to either just be like, look, you're right, date was fine. But you know what was finer? Your sister. Don't say that. Just be like, hey, this is really fun. Like, I know this is probably really shitty. I actually, like, felt like I connected with your sister, and I know this is weird, and she's probably not interested, and I hope you're not offended, but, you know, I like her.
Yeah,
And you never know.
This is
It
the
could
thing.
be- it
You
could
met
be
her
the
online,
perfect.
right? This isn't like a friend that you've been courting
Yeah.
for ages or a coworker or whatever. You met this person online.
Mhm.
Presumably, that was the only way you would have ever met.
It's
So-
not like your rehearsal dinner before your wedding when the sister walked in, you were like,
Oh
I
no!
gotta tell you, Hannah.
Yeah. So I don't think there is any harm. I mean, it might be a blow to this woman's ego a little bit,
But
right?
again, then she learns to not bring her sister.
But it also it would also be a blow to her ego.
To find
If-
out you're dating her as a second option just cause.
Yeah, and the fact that you're leering at her sister all the time, that's also a bad scene.
Yeah.
So it's
And the further this goes on, the less things are ever possible with the sister.
yeah,
This is the best. The only other better option than this is either the sister on the date goes, actually, I really like him. And the other sister goes, hell yeah. Or you met the sister and not her. Those are the only two better options, neither of which happened. So right now, third best option. And the further you go, it gets worse.
yeah, exactly. So
Now-
I think
What's to say he just breaks up with her and then messages the sister? I think that's worse.
that's worse.
Yeah.
I think you do have a little bit of a responsibility to set the stage, because I think doing that also shows the sister what you're about, right?
Yes.
I think if you just sort of
Also, it then
ghost the
puts-
other sister.
It puts the impetus on her and or you later on to turn back to the sister and be like, by the way, you don't
Yeah.
get away from doing it. You just postpone it to a point when it's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll, I think it would be far, I think you would ruin your chances more likely with the older sister.
Or upset the other sister more later on, both
Yeah.
of which are bad.
Yeah.
So-
I think you would be in bad shape, because if that was me, if I was an older brother and my younger brother went on a date and the date was actually,
Yeah.
if she hadn't talked to my brother,
Yes.
I'd be like, well, you obviously don't have the communication skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're kind of a coward. It's kind of underhanded. It's a little shitty.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to go back to her anyway, just in a worse
This thing
way.
is you've now put me in the position to break the bad news to my sister instead of owning up to your feelings and your intentions.
Yeah.
So it's no, don't put this shit on me. I'm that would be almost a hard no immediately for me.
Or it would be a yes if the person was shitty, in which case,
Yeah.
So I think you just got to be respectful and honest and understand that this isn't a nice thing to hear. Hopefully it's a thing they're on board with or agree with or don't mind, because again, it's early days. But I think that's the best way to do it, is either that or you get the fuck over it immediately.
I think you really need to lay on the fine and be like, look, I had a great time as well, but I don't want you to settle for fine, right? Really make it about them and your concern about their romantic pursuits.
Or even just be like, yeah, I understand it was fine. Honestly, towards the end of the date, I feel like me and your sister actually took over the conversation. I'm sorry about that. I just honestly, we end up getting on really well.
Yeah.
You could almost apologize, I'm sorry that we did that,
Yeah.
and then lead that into a thing. I don't know. She's single though?
She's single though?
She is.
Yeah,
We
he
know.
knows. He knows this. This is from Ray and a bunch of numbers. Should I keep going? Me, 18-year-old male, and my girlfriend, 18-year-old female, are freaks in the bedroom. Everything is awesome. We're so in love. The one thing that's off, though, is that she never lets me make her finish. She always talks a big game, but when the time comes, she shies away. For example, last time we were having sex, it got to the point that our legs were shaking and she was clearly struggling. She then told me to stop because she couldn't take it anymore and it hurt. I asked if it hurt or if the sensation was just too much, and she said the sensation was too much and she felt like she was going to pee. I told her that was okay and that I'd go slow, and that if she felt like she needed to pee, to just let it go and we'd see what would happen. However, when I started to go deeper again, she moaned and she said she couldn't take it. No problem. I did the best I could to finish the round without hitting whatever spot was uncomfortable for her, and she told me afterwards how great it was. She also told me, as she has before, to not stop the next time that she says she can't take it. My question is, next time, should I stop? She's actively telling me not to, but I really don't want to hurt her in the moment. Any advice is helpful.
So, safe words. I feel like we're talking about them a lot lately.
Yeah.
Safe words are great here. One, have a conversation. Be like, okay, you're telling me not to, but in the moment you're telling me to. So you'd be like, why are you telling me to in the moment? And why are you telling me not to now? Just
Yeah.
to see where her head's at. And then say, okay, but we can't do that because that's unsafe. We can't just have a blanket ignore when I say no.
Yeah.
That is not cool in any situation.
Yeah.
The only way play like that is safe, cool, and responsible is when you have set up an alternate phrase, which does mean no.
Yeah.
So if it's like a kink or if it's just like a whatever, that's fine. But you guys need to get a word that is like, unmistakable and not like, something that's easy to say, but definitely is out of place in the scenario that when you say it or when they say it, that is no.
Yeah.
If you want to play with this ignoring kind of like the end of consent.
It's weird because it doesn't even sound like it sounds like she's got like, usually with kinks, like this doesn't sound like a kink thing, right? It sounds like she has a mental block about.
No, it doesn't sound like a kink thing. It could be. It feels like something, and I don't know. Yeah, like you said, like a mental block.
I think it's a mental block about like this.
Like she's scared maybe that whether it's just peeing or coming or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point remains the same. You cannot
100%.
safely ignore somebody saying to stop. And also when someone says it hurts.
Yeah.
That's,
and that's the thing is like knowing that like even with this conversation, I would have a hard time continuing because if we've had sex enough and I've done X, if I do this specific thing and every time I've done it, you've said it hurts. And now all of a sudden you're not saying it. I know that like it hasn't stopped hurting. You're just fighting through the pain. Yeah. And there's probably
also,
going to be like physical.
The least fun thing you could think of, unless again, it is a particular kind of.
But that's what I mean. It's like, I don't know if regardless of whether we have a safe word or not, as we talk a lot about kinks. And again, it's
probably not a kink thing. That's why I led with talk about it and ask her why she's saying this and why she's saying that, because those two don't mesh. And you need to understand, like, is it a thing where she's like, oh, in the moment, I'm so worried and ashamed that I will pee. Yeah. But like afterwards, I'm like, oh, I could have come. And it's just like, ignore, like, because that sucks too, because that's not you necessarily wanting him to keep going. That's you not wanting him, but you want him to ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
very different to like a consensual, like, oh, it's fun for me to say X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. And I think it would be difficult for me to be like, I'm now going to ignore the fact that I know that this hurts you.
Yeah.
And now going to ignore all the sort of like physical, just like signals that you're not having fun or in distress. And like that, regardless of how much she wants it, you're also a participant in this.
And also, for her sake, if it is a thing where she's trying to overcome a barrier to finish or to whatever, this isn't the way forward. You know what I mean? It's not like you go to therapy and they're like, we're going to brute force right through that fucking barrier. And like, who knows? Let's hope you're better on the other side. Like that's not it. I think there are far better ways you can go about doing this. I think like love and care and attention can work very well rather than just like fucking go for it and ignore me in pain and begging you to stop. That's not it.
And if it is like, I think because they do say that like, oh, it doesn't hurt. It's just like the sensation is overwhelming. So, but that being said, if there is a pain element to this, pain is the body's way of being like, yo, fucking knock it off. Yeah. Right. So just fighting through that pain.
Also, literally dangerous.
Is dangerous because you don't know what you're doing. For all you know, she has some sort of like something on her cervix that you're fucking hitting, or just the cervix. Or
it's like a lack of lube, or it's like, maybe endometrium, anything, right? Like, that's the thing. So pain, bad. Everything bad. You need like minimum safe word, but more importantly, you need to talk through why she's saying it in the moment and why she's saying to ignore it now. And don't get fobbed off. Don't be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, blah, blah. Like actually like have a conversation. You know what I mean? You guys are 18. I get it. You're young-ish, but if you're old enough to fuck, you're old enough to have this conversation. Yeah. And you need to, for their sake and yours. And like, feel free to talk to them and be like, hey, it's, I wouldn't say frustrating, but like I worry or like it's upset or whatever, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Whatever you're feeling about like, I would like to make you come, but it feels like you stop me every time. And it's like, is there a way past that? If it's too intense or if it's a thing that you feel like embarrassed about or blah, 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 can we do it a different way? You know?
Let's put towels down.
Let's put towels down. Let's fuck in the shower, even though we don't recommend that.
Yeah.
You don't have to turn the shower on.
I will say,
great, but
with the safe word, you do also have to be very firm about because I'm worried that adding a safe word is just another thing that she's going to want him to ignore. You know what I mean? So it's you have to be very, very clear about being if you use this, it's a hard stop, and it's not next time if I say it, ignore it, right? Because that's essentially what you're doing is you're saying I'm next time I rescind consent, ignore it.
Yeah. So
it's don't just add another layer of what you're supposed to ignore.
Consent, you should, That's the thing. Safe words don't have gray areas.
Yeah.
It's hard and fast. You say that, it's done.
So bring those up. Explain also sort of where you're coming from too. So it's not just a conversation focused on sort of their inadequacies or whatever, right? And be look, I also don't enjoy it if you are in pain. And if you look like you're in pain, that's the quickest way for me to, I don't care if it forget smells, forget noises, forget whatever. If you look like you're in pain and I'm hurting you in a way that we haven't talked about, it's the fastest way
to get to soft town.
Yeah, it's the fastest way for me to be I am not in this anymore. This is not a sexy experience anymore. And now I'm now the part of my brain that wants to take care of you is going to take over, and it's
the
really
sad,
hard.
Worried part.
Yeah, it's really hard to walk that back. Even if we have a conversation, 30 minutes of figuring it out and being okay, great, we're all good. I find it difficult to jump back into that space because there's that adrenaline spike of I need to protect this person.
Yeah, it's a full different mode that you've gone into.
Yeah,
and so. You need to have a conversation. You need to establish safe words, but there seems there are root causes at play here that need to be fixed rather than just skirting the issue with a safe word. Yeah. So, but at minimum, get one.
Yes, 100%. The second you start talking about ignoring, people telling you to stop, you need a safe word that is respected and honored and a non-negotiable.
This is cockslopular. Something is off about the girl I've been texting. I matched with this girl on the dating app a couple of weeks ago. Absolute cutie. We were messaging on the app, and 4 messages in, she gives me her phone number because she doesn't use the app often. I was a little skeptical, kind of assumed it was a ploy for a scam or something, but regardless, I started texting her. We talked about work and interests and general small talk. I made it clear I really wanted to take her out, but I was going on vacation out of the country the following week. Conversation progresses. She starts to get a little flirty and then a little sexy, but we just exchanged words, nothing more. The way things escalated, I had to ask her if she was just looking to hook up because I was looking to date long term. And she said, no, she's down to date. All right, cool. So I go on my vacation. I get back in the middle of last week. Text her when I'm back. She says she missed me. Asked if she's available the upcoming weekend. No response. Until 3 days later, the end of the weekend, she replies and said her phone broke. My skepticism increases. We talk more about ourselves for a little and then decide to set a date for this now upcoming weekend. But even right now, we only have a calendar date set aside, no plan. I was trying to talk to her about what's in the area around her for dinner because I'm unfamiliar with where she lives. I don't want to make her drive out to me. She was silent for hours. And when she responded again, she kind of ignored what I said and started getting all sexual again. Skepticism increases more. In the meantime, while I was waiting for one of her responses, my buddy wanted to see what she looked like, so I opened the dating app to show him and she unmatched me. My skepticism increases. She was still texting me, so she didn't fully ghost me, but I was confused. Cut to yesterday. She asked if I want to see her nails that she just got done, so I say, sure. Sends me a video of nails, but then pans down to her masturbating. I was really surprised. I noticed through that the video had no sound. My skepticism increases. At no point did she show her face in the video, so I'm thinking maybe it's some random amateur porn video from the internet that's been muted. I feel a little paranoid, but so much just isn't added up. Then she sends me a message asking to return the favor, and as much as I wanted to, I had to tell her how I felt instead. We haven't even met each other, and we barely got to know each other, and what have I done to earn this kind of treatment so early? I'm thinking if I send this, I'm going to end up in a blackmail scam. Still waiting on a response, but I just had this gut feeling in my gut all night. I'm going to continue seeing it through, but don't worry, I'm going to continue to play it safe. I just want to hear others' opinions.
I get your skepticism, for sure. Mm-hmm. I understand your hesitancy. I pretty much approached all of my matches with that level of, especially, again, we've talked about it where like women have a sledgehammer approach where if you come on too strong, you give very strong bot energy, you give scam energy, especially with online dating and that kind of stuff. Like the amount of, I would love to know the amount of women I unmatched that were actually just looking for me to come over and fuck them. Because like, if that's your pitch within like a couple lines, I'm assuming I'm going to wake up in a bathtub ice with like a spleen missing or something. You know what I mean? Like, so I get being weary, and I think everything you said is very rational.
It's a blackmail scam for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. Like, it's this video out of nowhere of this thing, and then just send me one back. It's like, man, like, maybe that can happen early, but it doesn't happen before you meet each other, before you see their face in, you know, at 95%, it's a blackmail scam. 5%, she's a little freak. And even then, it's like, if you're not comfortable with it, definitely don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know, like... what you could do is just go on Pornhub and find a masturbation video and
that would actually be really fun.
right, and just send it and just see what happens and be like, right, like just to satisfy the curiosity.
Worst case, you guys meet up this weekend. She's cool, and then when she sees your dick, she's like, "Wait a minute,
hold on, that's not right." Yeah, so it's I think when you're online dating. It makes sense to be cautious. I mean, in all regards, when you're meeting up with people, especially things like sending nudes before you've like established an actual connection.
So you can send a nude, but you have to make sure you like bring your brother.
Yeah. Your brother needs to be
in the nude as well.
Yeah, just in the background. He's got to have his dick out as well, just in case she wants to date him instead.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, this has been really fun, but like, I was wondering if I could blackmail your brother.
And for me, the only way of knowing whether or not this is a scam or not is to like, as you like essentially follow through. And like, if once you get to the date, if she's like, oh no, I can't make it or whatever, be like, all right, like then you cut your losses and you're just like, this doesn't seem like it's working out, you know, good luck, great luck. But I mean, like, there are other things like it does suck because there are circumstances where I've had a lot of people who I match with on dating apps who wouldn't unmatch me. They would just be like, they get on dating apps for like 2 days and then they're like, this sucks, and I just happen to catch them in that. So when you go and like,
and Dane's the reason they leave.
So you know, there's always it's tough because there's always circumstances like people do break their phones. One of my coworkers
for sure
gets a new phone, I would say like every other week, because she loses it or breaks it. So like,
is she rich?
I don't know what the hell is going on, to be honest. I assume at this point she has some sort of insurance plan that just covers her.
I assume at this point she's uninsurable.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, it happens. So I don't want to give hard and fast rules of like, if this person does this, but like if you have a gut feeling
also,
and it's bad, follow it.
To be fair, it's safer for you to act skeptical about like when the coincidences are piling up. Like
100%.
So I listened to a podcast recently about like this famous like, is essentially this person whose identity was stolen and turned into like the scam artist. So like for some reason, all these like honey trap, like social media, Tinder, like whatever scam artists were just using this one woman's like pictures for some reason, just her. And essentially everybody they interviewed was like, well, like she broke her phone and then she lost her thing and then her camera broke so she could text me, but she couldn't send a picture. And then she asked for money, and it was always the same. And you're listening to it out of context. You're being like, it's so obvious. You know what I mean? So it's like when these coincidences do start piling up, there's no harm in being a little skeptical. And if the person you're talking to is like, fuck you, you're not gonna send me a nude, that's a good idea or a good indication that you don't want to fucking date them anyway.
Yeah,
real
exactly.
or not.
Yeah, whether there's a blackmail scam or not, if someone gets that aggressive about not respecting your comfort levels and boundaries, especially like, again, you've never met this person.
Yes.
I don't know. I've never sent a picture of my dick. I mean, I don't send a whole lot of dick pics in general, but like the women who have received my dick are women that I know and trust and
willing and eager participants.
Yes.
Yeah, not strangers.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. So come on, be smart. At least this person seems to be so far.
Yes.
But I get the feeling that they want us to be like, you're good. Send it, bro. Don't send it, bro.
Don't. Just follow your gut. Always. Right? If there's a big alarm going off in your head, listen to it. It's better safe than sorry.
Wait. First you said gut, now you said head. Which one is it?
My gut is my head. Guthead. This is from Ol Eric's. What do I use as lube for masturbating without raising suspicion from my conservative parents? I've been struggling feeling pleasure masturbating and found using water-based gel or coconut oil really helpful when living in dorms. Now that I've moved back in my conservative parents' home, I can't keep a Durex bottle of lube in my room because they'll see it and raise hell. Is there anything I can use that won't look suspicious? Even coconut oil would look sus.
Learn to hide your shit better?
it's how like are your parents doing like military boot camp style, like going through your drawers and shit? Because like surely you have like a bedside table that has like a couple drawers that you can like just shove it into the back, like put a bunch of random shit, buy a bunch of notebooks or whatever, and like just cram it in the back, put your books there, and it's like unless your parents aren't like if your parents are rummaging, then they're gonna find it. If they're not, then they're not. Like, obviously, don't have like a big old
like vat of lube.
Yeah, like Costco sized fucking like pump handle lube thing on your desk next to your tissues and like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, don't make it a whole like high school comedy teen like setup, but surely you can get like get those little bottles of lube that you can like just tuck sideways somewhere,
or like if it is like a coconut oil or whatever that you're worried about. All you need to do is have plausible deniability, really, right? If they go, well, you got that coconut oil, you go, for my skin.
Yeah, just
they're going to be like, hey, no, are you jerking it? And then you're like, no. And they're like, like, they're not going to get rid of it, surely. And if they are, just be like, what about the olive oil in the kitchen, Mom? What about this, Mom? Like, are we not allowed to have anything slippery, Mom?
Yeah, I mean, coconut oil is great for your lips. It's a really good natural lip balm. So you can just be like, when I was living in the dorm, the air was really fucking dry. My lips got really chapped. Roommate told me about this. And then, and now I find that like it really helps keep my lips from getting all shitty and gross.
Also, like...
And what better way to praise the Lord than
can't praise the Lord with chapped lips.
You can't. If Jesus hears chapped lips,
he feels a little bad about it.
He'll be like, this guy, straight to hell. Straight to
hell.
chapped lip hell. Where you'll have to like lick your lips and they'll get all red.
Yeah.
Forever. With the devil.
If you don't respect your chapstidy, who will?
Alternatively, just get a container or something, like buy a fucking like
something you can hide,
like a screen cleaner or something for your computer. Empty that out.
Now, Dane is in good territory here, but he's also in the danger zone because I had friends do this in university with a bottle of sun cream and a bunch of vodka to sneak it into a festival, and they did it. But guess what? The vodka tasted like sunscreen, and it was terrible. Well, so what you got to do is make sure you clean it real good.
Yes.
Screen whatever Dane said on your pee-pee, not good.
Yeah.
It's going to strip that skin right off, and guess what? You'll need coconut oil then, won't you?
If you want, go to the dollar store and get a small, like, little spritz bottle.
I'm putting it on my dick because the skin's gone. Sure, Timmy. No, Mom.
Like, you can get any sort of, like, little spread and just be like, oh, it's a screen cleaner.
Also, like...
Until Dad realizes that he's got his fingerprints all out and just keeps, like, fucking lubing up his screen.
And sometimes you just gotta fucking stand up for yourself against your parents. So, just fucking put your foot down.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm jerking it.
I'm jerking it, and you can't stop me. Or maybe, hey, do you want to try? You want to try to stop me, Mom?
I'm faster than you.
Yeah. Do you know how greased up I am right now?
You slide along the floor.
I discovered lube, Mom. You'll never catch me.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think that's it.
I think we've solved that 100%.
Yeah.
This majestic cupcake. I, female 44, haven't had sex with my boyfriend, male 56, for 7 years. Is it my fault? Haven't had sex with my boyfriend for 7 years. I don't know why. We went together almost 8 years, but no intimate contact for 7. Anytime I've tried talking about it, he shuts down, stops talking, and ignores me. We never argue because we can talk like civil humans when we disagree, but we've never been able to talk about this. After the first few years, I was angry and started making snide comments and shit like that. I've since apologized, and I think we moved on from it. I tried to tell him this isn't fair for me. For me, it's not necessarily the no sex, it's the fact I don't know why. I poured my heart out to him about this many times, and he shuts me out. A few years ago, he said he was tired. I explained he doesn't have to do all the work himself. Now, about 2 months ago, he said he remembers how sex was used against him in previous relationships, but realizes I'm not his ex. I did get a little upset because it's been almost 8 years. Like, what the fuck? He tries to reassure me it isn't me. He says I'm beautiful and loves me, and this is 100% his issue. Obviously, since the beginning, feels like it is me. Then a few nights ago, I woke up in the middle of the night to looking at pics of women on Facebook wearing next to nothing. Pretty sure he isn't cheating because he really doesn't have time and the schedule never changes. Am I overreacting to the whole thing? Can I approach the situation differently?
If things like this piss me off so much, because if I had an issue as big as I want to have sex, my partner doesn't want to have sex, and then I try to have a conversation with, and they just shut down.
Yeah,
I wouldn't stay with that person for 8 years.
Not at
and
all.
This could be about like literally anything.
Yeah.
If I have an argument with a partner and I'm like, hey, I find that I'm doing all the housework, or could you help do the dishes tonight? And they were just like, I can't. And then like go and lock themselves in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
I would be like, cool.
Mhm.
This isn't a person I want to spend
No.
any amount of time with.
Like, even, like, as you're right, it's not even about sex. It's just, like, the sheer disrespect and lack of, like, being a cohesive human. It's like,
Yeah.
if you just can't give me anything, you're just like, okay, cool, go sort your shit out elsewhere because I cannot deal with that.
Yeah.
Nor shall I.
And it's when it gets exacerbated when it's something as big as like, if the issue was like, oh, we haven't had sex, but it doesn't really bother our relationship and it doesn't really matter, then it's like, okay, whatever. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Don't have sex and keep having a great relationship.
Yeah, that'd be one of those things where, like, you can have your own sexual, like, levels and your own, like, you know, libidos and whatnot. You don't have to worry about what other people would think in your situation.
Doesn't
if
fucking
you're
matter.
happy, you're happy.
Yeah.
Boom. But if you're unhappy and they won't talk to you, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Why are you ruining 7 years of your life?
To be unhappy about a specific issue that they refuse to talk about or address for this long is a crazy thing to do to me. I cannot imagine. Huh?
Thing to do to you?
Yeah.
You're doing this today.
You do understand what you're doing to me? You're making your mother crazy. It's really, really tough to like even fathom. And I understand that you'd be like, oh, you know, the relationship is great because we can talk about everything else and whatever.
But like, if that makes it worse.
Yes.
Honestly, if it was like, we can never talk about anything, this is just one of those things, it would still suck. But the fact that you're like, we can talk about everything. However, he just says,
yeah.
Like, no.
And then like, I don't even really want to talk about the like looking at pictures of women on Facebook. Like
it has nothing to do with
it. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And like, again, if it bothers you, it's just one more thing on the pile of the 8-year pile of being upset about this one specific thing. Then get out of there.
Yes. I would say if you are invested in this relationship, you would have one more like, hey, it's been 7 years. We haven't fucked. I want to fuck. You won't even talk to me about this. This is your last chance. Like, I want to discuss this. I want to make strides. I want to fix this. If you're unwilling to, I'm sorry. I have to go elsewhere.
Yes.
Good thing you're not married because it's going to be a lot easier to leave. But like, why would you stay in this? You're upset. It's been bad. It continues to be bad. The disrespect, let alone the sexlessness.
Yeah. And if he's just like, I can't talk about it because of my past, it's like, great.
Okay.
Then I'm going to bounce.
Yeah.
And then you can find a therapist to work through this or don't, whatever. Like, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to suffer and be put in a position where like I'm unhappy because you refuse to address an issue in your life.
Yes.
And that it literally goes for everything. It's not just sex. If these people like, if someone is like, you know, oh, every day for 8 years, my, you know, partner yells at me because they have anger issues or whatever, right? Like anything that goes over a long period of time and they don't want to talk about it or address it or solve it, don't stay in a relationship where you're unhappy.
It would even be like an entirely different thing if they gave you a reason and you were unhappy with like that reason.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different fucking situation. Because then we can talk about the reason and ways to fix or whatever that. But like, if they just simply won't talk to you, like, what the fuck are you doing?
I never understand, like, and I don't know if this is just because I've been very lucky with the people that I've chosen to be in relationships with, but I can't imagine what the conversation is like when I have something I want to talk about and I'm like, hey, so here's the issue, here's what I want to talk about, here's how I feel about it, and someone's just like, no. Like, I like, how does that, or like,
how do you deal with that and not go right by? Like, I am the kind of person where I'm like the opposite, where I probably talk about things way too much, but like, this would break me. I would be like, no, you can't, that's not an option. You don't just get to say, fuck you, we don't talk about this.
Yeah, or like, accept the answer. Like, if someone's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay. Like, I don't understand how someone could get that sort of response back to a really important question or a really important issue and then just be like satisfied and be like, I've tried to talk to them, but they won't.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's it.
What do you mean?
Or even people who are like, well, we've talked about this. And it turns out like the conversation was, hey, well, I'm not happy about this. And like, okay, that's not talking about it. You brought it up timidly and then ran when they didn't participate.
I literally do not know. Like, I would love to see one of these, like, be a fly on the wall and see how one of these conversations go.
That would be the most upset fly if it was me, because I'd just be like, like on the corner of the wall. Like,
you would see a fly just explode. It's don't stay in relationships you're unhappy with. Put in the effort to fix them. Do the things that you can do to make them better.
And if your partner utterly unwilling to meet you in any regard, why would you date them?
And that goes, that crosses a whole spectrum as well, being like, ranging from like, shutting down, becoming nonverbal, and refusing to acknowledge that there is a problem, to someone just being like, here's the problem, here's how I feel, and I don't know how to fix it. Those are all like on that spectrum of accepting that you have a problem in your relationship. But all of those are okay to leave in, right? Like, even if someone is like, hey, I hear you, I understand why you're upset,
Yes.
I don't know how to fix it. Like, you're allowed to be like, okay,
Yes.
it's not my job to then fix it, and I'm unhappy because of this.
Yes.
So until you can figure out a way to make that change, whether it's getting professional help or whatever,
Or even if
I
they're
don't
like,
have to stay here and just take abuse, whether it's intentional or not, because you can't figure it out.
yeah. Or if they're like, oh, I can fix it doing this, and they don't or can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like only these ones we're talking about are the bad ones. And if they do the other things, you got another 8 years.
Yeah.
Gotta do another 8 years.
If you're unhappy.
Yeah. You don't need like a reason. You don't need permission to leave. But in certain circumstances like this, I feel like you need to be told to leave. So fucking leave.
Yeah.
You're
Get outta
miserable.
here.
You're miserable. And nothing's changed. And it's been bad. And it's only going to keep getting worse.
Yep.
Or you do.
That's going to do it for this episode, friends. Thank you very much for hanging out with us and spending some time with us. We know you're busy, and taking a little slice of your life to spend with us and listen to us means a whole hell of a lot to us. If you would like to support the show and maybe get Niall's family a hotel, so no.
I'm actually really excited for them to stay. It's just other stuff like editing and everything, honestly.
Yeah.
So any little bit, all the Patreons right now are keeping the show afloat. So you have them to thank for episodes every week.
Yep. You can head on over to fbuddiespodcast.com, click the Patreon link, and boom, there you go. You can choose a level that works for you. We just recently uploaded a new how-to series with our Pillow Talk, dealing with breakups.
Yep.
And it's all about how to move on, how to process,
How to actually do the breakup.
how to break up.
When to break up, especially.
Yep. And
Which, hey, was very good for that last
yeah.
one. Guess when you should have broken up? 7 years ago.
And if you've just broken up and you listen to this to heal, we've then got 2 more how-tos of getting ready to go out on a night out to like maybe schmooze with people you're attracted to, and then how to go on a first date.
Yep.
So we've got you covered for a lot of things. If you have any suggestions or would like to hear us deep dive on another specific topic, this is the one time where people are like, oh, what's your podcast? Like, what episode? Or what's this episode about? It's like, it's not what we do.
The amount of times I have to say that to people, which is fine.
Yeah.
But also,
But now we are doing single topic episodes. So if you'd like us to deep dive on an idea or a topic or a concept, let us know, and we will consider it for one of our how-to series.
we will. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities, for their song Paper Stars. Conversely, another way to help us is just, tell your friends.
Tell your
Post about
friends.
us.
Yeah, I promise you, and I know this for a fact, that you have a friend who's absolutely fucking useless with the opposite sex, the same sex, whatever. They're useless romantically.
Yeah, and the best thing is, you don't even have to be like, look, Jimbo, you suck shit. You can
You're
be
so
like,
bad.
hey, these guys are funny.
Yeah.
You'll like them. We're so funny.
And again, maybe you know a dude who's skewing a little into the incel, into the red pill.
Yeah. And guess what? It's an easy sell. You say, look, they got an episode called Dick is Sports Mode. And they're going to be like, yeah, bro. And then they come in expecting us to be like, fuck women. But we're saying, hey, fuck women.
Yeah.
In a way that makes them come.
That's it, right? Like, I feel like if you look at our episode titles, you would never know.
No, it's like bait.
Yeah. Although, I mean, if they go far enough back, I'm pretty, like, we do have a Black Lives Matter, and we do have a...
We can't pander all the time. We got to shine our...
I believe we do have
true colors.
some pro-trans stuff. So
also,
like,
imagine half the time if you get a minute in and they're like, fuck these guys. But you know what? We try. Speaking of incels, you ready?
Yeah.
Some bad sex writing. Elon Musk suggests support for replacing democracy with government of high-status males.
God. Like, imagine a fucking world or a government run by just a, like, let's go a small sort of like after school committee run by people who consider themselves high status males. It would be,
well, look at fucking Twitter. Like, it by itself, garbage fire. They're like, hey, here's a functional product. And he was like, not anymore. Like, why?
I will say, however, I was on Twitter recently, today, and one thing that I actually thought was kind of cool was before you share a news article, it says, hey, you can
haven't
actually
read,
open
yeah.
this news article, which I thought was a pretty good, I think that is like a step forward in terms of like,
It's fair.
I was like, okay, this is the one time I was on Twitter and was like, huh.
I also appreciate the community notes feature because it's just been used exclusively to like cook anything fucking Elon posts.
Yeah.
It's great. They're just like, well, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah. This is bad, and I don't think we need any other high status male to run anything ever.
No.
My name is Dave Miller,
And I'm not Spain.
and we've been your fuck buddies.